was. That's how lame I am.
Tell me more about how unoriginal I am. Tatted philosophy.
What?
On the YouTube, the only YouTube. Okay. Okay. Let me see if I can pull up the new streams I can pull.
Sweet.
It's
We're back.
now.
We're back.
Are we? We're back.
So sorry about
Ladies
that.
and gentlemen, direct all your hate towards Billy. He calls that somehow. Anyway, we're back.
All right. I'm trying to find the chat.
You want to continue to what you were saying? We can, yeah.
I will pick up and carry on. You know. All right. So I will just kind of sum up before and pick up where I was leaving off. So essentially, the issue that I had a lot with when it comes to DC, I think I was talking about The Killing Joke. Now, it's a very graphically violent novel, and I get that there is a market for certain things. When you talk about how it was translated to film, they changed a lot of what happened with Barbara and shifted the trauma that she experienced to how it hurt Batman's feelings and Commissioner Gordon's feelings. Now, if you're not familiar with that, here's some.
I immediately have a disagreement.
Okay.
If that is okay. So in the original story, the entire time in the original Killing Joke comic book, the reason that Joker went after Barbara specifically was to break Jim Gordon, because it was the quintessential ending of his one bad day philosophy. He was using Gordon as a tool in an effort to break Jim, because he saw Jim as a flip side to Batman's coin. If he can break somebody who's as obsessed with justice like Jim Gordon, then he should have no problem one day employing the same methods to the Bat, should he have that ability. That was not something changed in the new version. That's always been there.
Okay, there's feedback. My point is, I'm hearing feedback.
Yeah,
where's the feedback coming from?
Okay, so the point that I'm trying to make is that also they added a sexual relationship between Batman and Batgirl in the film. That wasn't originally in the graphic novel.
Something that's also not new, though.
Well, when you're going and you're translating something between the two, and you're adding this particular element, you can actually find some different stuff, as there was a lot of lashback when the screening happened at Comic-Con, even among the viewers who were there. They sat there and they had a lot of, pushback about what about Barbara. Now, the inherent issue about all of this is, number one, they're using a woman in trauma against a woman in order to make a man feel bad. That's really not a good thing to do to a person. And that's kind of like part of their plot. And Barbara, being a strong character by herself, to have this type of traumatization happen to her and it downplayed to where, let's worry about poor Commissioner Gordon, let's worry about poor Batman. I mean, it's kind of like, you're going to go through and put this woman through this debilitating, permanent type of disability, put her through a sexual trauma and say, oh, we're just trying to hurt her dad. It's kind of like, this is kind of what I'm talking about the representation of women in DC. They're used as tools for the plots associated with the male characters so that the men are hurt. We're trying to hurt the men by using the women. We're trying to do things with the men by using the women. The women are often used as tools. And even in the dialogue, one of the biggest things that hit me so hard as an adult, it's something you don't notice when you're younger. But when you get older and you're subjected to a lot of different things, and I understand my eyes are different than other people's, and I get that. Some people are going to disagree with me, and that's okay. But when you're going through and you compare the way that the characters are represented in Marvel versus DC. Yeah, Marvel, I love Jean Grey. Jean Grey is amazing, but she is flawed. She is a flawed character. but she's not overtly sexualized. She's not treated as somebody as a tool constantly to get back at a guy. She is the most powerful freaking X-Men, and she is celebrated for that, even with her flaws, and they still try to work and help her as a team. The Wonder Woman film is the first DC film where I didn't feel like garbage as a woman after watching it. You mean, you look at Catwoman, who's an amazing character, but she is overtly sexualized. She has to be evil. She has to be crazy. You look at the Suicide Squad film. They all overtly sexualize Harley Quinn. People romanticize the relationship between her and Joker, and it's a battered women syndrome situation. She's brilliant, but if she's not crazy or objectified regularly by her peers, it's just... you're just looking at this and you're like, man, you know, and I've sat in a room full of my guy friends who have like, you need to watch this Suicide animated film. And I'm Suicide Squad animated film. I'm like, okay, that's fantastic. Let's watch this. Before I went and saw the live action, this is great. Again, every single woman is overtly objectified. They talk about how batshit the women are and how stupid Harley Quinn is, but she's useful to us right now. So we're going to use her. And then they have another woman who's using sex in order to get into a morgue. It's just like, I am so tired of women being put in these positions and not genuinely appreciated for what they offer. The Injustice video game. I bought that game because I wanted to play Batgirl. I wanted to play Wonder Woman. I wanted to play these characters to go and tear through. I played the story mode. I played Batman 3 times in the story mode. Green Lantern once. By the way, his power move is crap. Why does he make a wall as a throw? Why can't he make a giant dragon or something? He's freaking Green Lantern. Come on. But I got to beat up at least 4 different women in the process. And I didn't get to play Wonder Woman until level 18 out of 20. One time, spoilers, guys, she saves everybody from the evil versions of themselves. And the only thing that her peers had to say was how pretty she was. Not Wonder Woman's awesome. She saved the world. She brought her Athena army that came through. They destroyed all the bad guys. It was, our Wonder Woman is prettier than yours. That is what they said about her. And I'm just like...
you're talking about Injustice 1, correct?
Yes, Injustice 1. At the very end, after woman... But that's what I'm saying. That's what they had to say about her. So after she goes through and they're like, well, our Wonder... I believe it was either Green Lantern or Aquaman. No, one of the dudes. They all look alike after a while. They say, our Wonder Woman is prettier than yours. As they're punching out the other bad guys. This happens at the end in one of the final scenes. After she defeats the army, you go through and you knock out Superman, and then it's the final battle. That's what they had to say about Wonder Woman. That's literally it. But it's like, this is what I've had, and I know other people don't see that because, you know, we're kind of trained to not pay attention to that so much.
I don't think that line actually happened in Injustice. This is coming from somebody who just played it last year.
Check it out. Our Wonder Woman is prettier than yours.
Okay,
look it up.
I'll let you continue, but I'll try to let you continue uninterrupted. But I'm hearing things that I hear as wrong.
Okay, I understand. I also kind of want to point out that DC Comics historically has been kind of problematic, particularly with the mental illness in women. They had an artist contest back in 2013, and they held a contest where they were trying to find new artists to draw Harley Quinn naked committing suicide in different suicide scenarios. This happened during Suicide Awareness Week. And so this was 2013, and so DC was actually trying to put out this particular contest to try to generate new artists. The Daily Dot was the first to kind of draw attention to this particular talent search. And immediately after there was so much pushback about, hey guys, maybe don't have Harley Quinn drawn naked, committing suicide during Suicide Prevention Week. That's a bad idea. And so there were groups that were speaking out about this. But this is kind of like a regular type of thing that goes on. And I understand there are people who will not have the same eyes as I do. They may not see things the way that I do, but I've never, ever sat through like one of the, and I'm going to compare like the cartoons, like the X-Men cartoons. Now the DC cartoons nowadays are a lot better than they used to be. I do like the Batman series, but the romanticizing of the Harley Quinn and Joker relationship is really kind of an issue, particularly with domestic violence and that sort of thing. You don't get the same type of thing with the Marvel characters and how they treat their women. Both can be inherently objectified to a degree, but at least there's a bit of a trade-off in how the Marvel female characters are genuinely a part of the team and not overtly objectified or made to have some massive mental illness where they're crazy and evil in order to have power. That's my main beef with the two and kind of what I've gone through. And there's a lot of different studies that you can look up about representation. There was one about the portrayal of women versus men as superheroes. We could get into the whole idea of films and how Hollywood's done that, but that's something else. There was a study done where women were shown different superhero films in the portrayal of women. They, they were posing certain ways and angles and stuff, but that's a broad sweep and a broad spectrum. That these women actually felt worse about themselves during seeing certain films about the portrayal of the women in them than, before they walked into the theater. That's kind of just, and I kind of spend some time because I am a geek. I've cosplayed as Wonder Woman, Harley Quinn, Catwoman, Batgirl, all of these, because I do want to kind of promote the presence of women in superhero context, but it's hard for me to separate the way that these characters are treated in DC versus Marvel. You got, even Black Widow. Yeah, she's got red in her ledger, but she's seen as a strong component of the team and she's working to correct her things. Jean Grey. Yeah, she's got a lot of issues. She's got a lot of freaking issues, but nobody's like, hey, nice ass, she's prettier than the other ones. There is romantic aspects there, but it's not the main driving thing. And nobody is particularly doing things to her to hurt the men because she's not having it. So I just kind of feel like DC can do so much better. And I will say the latest Wonder Woman film brought me to tears with the No Man's Land scene, because I'm like, that's my Wonder Woman. That's what I needed to see. And I'm hoping that DC continues that trend of showing Wonder Woman was there. She wasn't, she's sexy.
About what we would expect in a situation like that. On the topic, hold on, I have a lot of things pulled up, if you will allow me a moment to actually get to
Sure.
That's what we would expect in a situation like that. On the topic, hold on, I have a lot of things pulled up, if you will allow me a moment to actually get to
Sure.
this here. On
Oh my goodness.
Billy, what the fuck are you doing? Billy, what the fuck are you doing?
I'll be honest, I've
Hacking the
never, after having many group discussions on my channel, I've never encountered an issue with it just randomly turning off repeatedly.
They won't bounce that ass. No one's gonna say it, I'll say it.
Thanks, buddy.
It's Billy's fault.
Like always.
Here, I can put some of the stuff. If you want, Suris, I can send you some of the studies I've been looking at, if you're curious.
My argument is not going to rely on studies.
All right, I
Okay.
think we're back
because
up.
because my argument is going to rely on the entertainment value of the individual mediums, not necessarily just